In the summer of 2021, Gabby Petito, a vibrant young woman from Long Island, embarked on a cross-country journey with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. Their adventure, meticulously documented on social media, portrayed an idyllic van life existence, capturing the imagination of many. Gabby's Instagram and YouTube channels painted a picture of freedom, scenic landscapes, and the pursuit of a shared dream. This journey, however, would soon descend into a nightmare, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a nation gripped by a tragic mystery. The idyllic facade hid escalating tensions that would become tragically clear. As Gabby and Brian traversed national parks and vast American landscapes, their public image of harmonious travel began to crack. Behind the filtered photos and cheerful vlogs, a different reality was unfolding. Friends and family noted increasing strain in their relationship, marked by arguments and emotional turbulence. What started as an aspirational journey slowly revealed underlying conflicts, hinting at a darker dynamic between the couple. These subtle shifts, initially dismissed as normal relationship challenges, would later be viewed through a profoundly different lens, foreshadowing the gravity of what was to come on their journey west. On August 12, 2021, concerns escalated dramatically. Near the Moonflower Community Co-op in Moab, Utah, a witness observed a heated altercation involving Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. The witness called 911, reporting a man hitting a woman. The call described a white van with Florida plates and highlighted the aggressive nature of the dispute, noting the man slapping the girl and both individuals getting into the van and driving off. This 911 call marked the first official documentation of a physical domestic incident, a critical warning sign that would later become central to the tragedy's narrative, alerting authorities to a potential danger. The 911 operator received a detailed account from the caller. The witness specified seeing the gentleman slap the girl and then observed them running up and down the sidewalk, before the man then hit her again and they drove off. This wasn't a fleeting disagreement but a visibly aggressive encounter that prompted a concerned citizen to intervene by contacting law enforcement. The severity of the description underscored the need for police intervention, setting in motion the events that would culminate in the now infamous body cam footage. The initial report was clear: a domestic disturbance with physical aggression, a critical detail. Responding to the 911 call, Moab police officers located the distinctive white Ford Transit van fitting the description. What followed was a roadside interaction captured on police body camera footage, which would become a critical piece of evidence and a focal point of public scrutiny. The footage begins with officers approaching the stopped van, initiating contact with Gabby and Brian. From the outset, the scene conveyed tension and distress, revealing a stark contrast to the happy-go-lucky image the couple projected online. The body cam was a raw, unfiltered look at a relationship in crisis, a moment that could have changed everything. The body cam footage immediately revealed Gabby Petito in profound distress. Tears streamed down her face as she spoke to officers, visibly shaken and emotional. She explained that she had been fighting with Brian, admitting to hitting him first. Her statements were often fractured, interwoven with apologies and justifications, painting a picture of a young woman under immense emotional strain. The officers documented her visible injuries, including scratches and red marks, as she tried to downplay the severity of the altercation, an instinct often observed in victims of domestic conflict. Her tears were a clear signal of deeper issues. Brian Laundrie, while calmer than Gabby, provided his own account of the incident. He corroborated that they had been arguing, confirming Gabby had hit him. He also admitted to pushing her away, claiming it was in self-defense during the escalating conflict. His demeanor, though composed, conveyed a sense of control and a narrative designed to minimize the severity of the situation. The officers noted his visible scratches, consistent with Gabby's admissions. This conflicting narrative, alongside Gabby's distress, presented a complex challenge for the responding officers, who had to quickly assess a volatile domestic situation under pressure, seeking to piece together the truth. The police also interviewed the witness who made the initial 911 call. Their statement corroborated the physical aspect of the altercation, detailing how they saw Brian hit Gabby. This independent account was crucial, providing a perspective beyond the couple's differing narratives. The witness's description of Brian's aggressive actions added significant weight to the observation of a domestic dispute, aligning with the initial 911 report. This third-party confirmation was a vital piece of the puzzle, reinforcing the presence of violence in their relationship and underscoring the severity of the incident. It was an external validation of the conflict. Despite the conflicting accounts and Gabby's clear distress, officers faced a difficult decision. Utah law requires an arrest in domestic violence incidents where there is probable cause that an assault has occurred. However, based on their assessment, and after speaking to both parties and the witness, officers ultimately determined that Gabby was the primary aggressor, believing her confession of hitting Brian. They noted Brian's visible injuries. They classified the incident as a mental/emotional health break, rather than a clear case of domestic assault, a determination that would later spark widespread debate and criticism regarding police protocol and training in domestic violence cases. Given the assessment, officers made a decision to separate the couple for the night. Gabby was provided transportation to a local motel, and Brian was instructed to stay in the van. The police report detailed this arrangement, stating that no charges were filed. The intention was to de-escalate the situation and allow both individuals space to calm down. This decision, aimed at preventing further conflict, was made under the sufficient evidence clause for domestic violence. However, in hindsight, many would argue this approach overlooked crucial warning signs, particularly Gabby's vulnerability, missing an opportunity for a different, potentially life-saving intervention. The body cam footage and the subsequent police decision became central to the narrative of the warning everyone missed. Viewers of the footage later pointed to Gabby's obvious fear, her attempts to protect Brian, and the controlling dynamics evident in their interaction as red flags. Critics argued that despite Gabby admitting to hitting Brian, her emotional state and Brian's calm demeanor suggested a power imbalance more characteristic of an abusive relationship. The handling of the incident would prompt a national discussion on how law enforcement identifies and responds to complex domestic violence situations, particularly when the victim appears to be the aggressor. A critical moment passed. Following the Moab incident, Gabby continued her journey with Brian. Her family in Florida, however, grew increasingly concerned. They received sporadic texts and phone calls, which eventually became less frequent and, in some instances, seemed unusual. A final text from Gabby's phone to her mother, Nicole Schmidt, read, "Can you help me? Brian is going crazy." This desperate plea, sent on August 27, 2021, was the last clear communication from Gabby, intensifying her family's fears. The text message, while alarming, unfortunately came too late, as Gabby's true location and condition were already unknown, marking a dire turning point. On September 1, 2021, Brian Laundrie returned to his parents' home in Northport, Florida, driving Gabby's white van. He arrived without Gabby. This solitary return immediately raised alarm bells for Gabby's family, who had not heard from her definitively in days. Brian and his family offered no explanation for Gabby's absence and reportedly refused to communicate with Gabby's parents. The stark reality of Brian's solo arrival, combined with his silence, created an unbearable void of information and fueled the growing dread that something terrible had happened to Gabby, transforming their concern into outright panic and suspicion. With their daughter still missing and Brian Laundrie refusing to cooperate, Gabby's parents officially reported her missing to the Suffolk County Police Department in New York on September 11, 2021. This initiated a frantic search, propelling Gabby's story into the national spotlight. News organizations picked up the story, and a massive online community galvanized to help find her. The missing person report transformed a private family tragedy into a widespread public effort, igniting hope, but also deepening the mystery surrounding Gabby's whereabouts. The search for Gabby would soon become one of the most prominent missing persons cases in recent memory. The disappearance of Gabby Petito triggered an extensive, multi-agency search effort spanning several states. Law enforcement, along with volunteer search teams and even TikTok sleuths, focused on the last known locations of the couple, particularly national parks in Wyoming where they had been documented. The vast and rugged terrain presented immense challenges, yet the determination to find Gabby fueled countless hours of searching, both on the ground and through analysis of digital footprints. The nation watched anxiously, hoping for a positive outcome, as search teams meticulously combed through remote wilderness, driven by the urgency of the case. Tragically, on September 19, 2021, search teams made a grim discovery in the Bridger-Teton National Forest in Wyoming. Human remains consistent with Gabby Petito's description were found at a remote campsite. This heartbreaking news sent shockwaves across the nation, confirming the fears of Gabby's family and the millions who had followed her story. The discovery shifted the investigation from a missing person case to a homicide inquiry. The initial identification marked a somber turning point, validating the worst fears and beginning the painful process of seeking justice for Gabby, bringing a tragic end to the hopeful search efforts. Just 2 days later, on September 21, 2021, the FBI officially confirmed that the remains belonged to Gabby Petito. The identification was made through dental records, providing conclusive proof of her identity. This confirmation extinguished any remaining hope, solidifying the tragic reality of her fate. The news release from the FBI marked a definitive end to the search for Gabby, replacing it with the urgent pursuit of answers regarding her death. The confirmation, though agonizing, allowed the investigation to pivot fully towards understanding the circumstances leading to her demise and identifying those responsible. On October 12, 2021, Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue announced the official cause of Gabby Petito's death: homicide by strangulation. The announcement provided a chilling clarity to her tragic end, indicating a violent and deliberate act. This definitive medical finding removed all doubt about foul play and immediately focused the investigation on Brian Laundrie, who had been the last person seen with Gabby and had since vanished. The coroner's report was a pivotal piece of evidence, transforming the speculation into a concrete understanding of how Gabby's life was cruelly taken, guiding the subsequent manhunt. Even as the search for Gabby intensified, Brian Laundrie, who was named a person of interest in her disappearance, vanished. On September 14, his parents reported him missing, stating they last saw him on September 13 when he allegedly went for a hike in the vast Carlton Reserve in Sarasota County, Florida. This disappearance, coming directly after his return without Gabby and his refusal to cooperate, added another layer of complexity and suspicion to the unfolding tragedy. His vanishing act solidified public perception of his culpability and ignited a massive manhunt across the challenging Florida wilderness, turning the focus from Gabby to him. The search for Brian Laundrie became an unprecedented manhunt, drawing national attention. Law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, local police, and even state wildlife officials, meticulously combed the treacherous 25,000-acre Carlton Reserve. The challenging terrain, filled with alligators, snakes, and dense vegetation, made the search arduous and prolonged. The public, fueled by outrage and a desire for answers, also joined in, sharing information and tips online. The intense, weeks-long search was a desperate effort to locate the sole individual who held the key to understanding Gabby's final moments, transforming the quiet reserve into a national focal point. On October 20, 2021, after weeks of intense searching, skeletal remains, along with a backpack and a notebook, were discovered in the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, a preserve connected to the Carlton Reserve. Brian Laundrie's parents were present with law enforcement when the items were found. The location, partially submerged in water, had been difficult to access previously. The discovery brought a sudden, somber turn to the manhunt, hinting at a potential conclusion to the search for Brian. It was a breakthrough, but one shrouded in the grim reality of finding human remains, adding another layer to the tragedy. The next day, on October 21, 2021, the FBI officially confirmed that the remains belonged to Brian Laundrie. The identification was made through dental records, mirroring the method used for Gabby. This confirmation officially closed the chapter on the manhunt for Brian Laundrie, but it opened a new, urgent quest for answers regarding Gabby's death. His death meant that the direct questions of his involvement in Gabby's homicide would never be answered by him in a courtroom. The news brought a mix of relief that the search was over, and profound frustration that justice through trial would now be impossible for Gabby's family. Further investigation revealed the cause of Brian Laundrie's death. On November 23, 2021, the Sarasota County Medical Examiner announced that Brian Laundrie died by suicide, caused by a gunshot wound to the head. This finding, combined with the earlier determination of Gabby's death, painted a grim picture of the couple's final days. The suicide confirmed the belief that Brian was central to Gabby's death, but it also left a void in the legal proceedings, as he would never face justice in court. The definitive medical ruling provided a final, dark piece to the puzzle, closing his own chapter with a tragic end. Crucially, the waterproof notebook discovered near Brian Laundrie's remains contained his handwritten confession. The FBI later confirmed that in the notebook, Brian took responsibility for Gabby's death. He detailed how Gabby suffered a severe injury and claimed he killed her in an act of mercy, believing she was in extreme pain and distress. This confession, though self-serving and contested by many, provided the closest thing to an explanation for Gabby's homicide. It confirmed what many had suspected, offering a chilling glimpse into the final moments of Gabby's life and Brian's complicity, tying the entire tragic narrative together. With the discovery of Brian Laundrie's remains, his cause of death, and the contents of his notebook, the FBI officially concluded its investigation into Gabby Petito's death. The official findings confirmed that Brian Laundrie was solely responsible for Gabby Petito's homicide. This conclusion, while providing closure for investigators, left Gabby's family with profound grief and the lingering question of whether more could have been done. The bodycam footage, initially a snapshot of a domestic dispute, was now viewed as a chilling harbinger of the tragedy, highlighting the critical importance of recognizing warning signs in troubled relationships. The case of Gabby Petito sparked a massive public outcry and an unprecedented level of national attention. Millions followed the story, dissecting every piece of evidence and sharing their theories online. The outcome, though anticipated by many, left a deep sense of sorrow and frustration. The public's engagement was fueled by the compelling narrative of the young, adventurous couple, juxtaposed with the stark reality of domestic violence. This collective grief and anger transformed Gabby's story into a powerful catalyst for awareness, turning her personal tragedy into a broader conversation about abuse and intervention. Perhaps one of the most significant consequences of the Gabby Petito case was the intense scrutiny placed on the Moab Police Department's handling of the August 12 domestic incident. The bodycam footage became a key exhibit in this public review. Critics argued that officers failed to recognize the signs of an abusive relationship and mishandled the situation by not making an arrest. The incident led to an independent review, which found that officers made several errors and that Gabby was indeed a victim of domestic violence. This review underscored the critical need for enhanced training in identifying complex domestic abuse dynamics. An independent review of the Moab incident, commissioned by the city, found that the responding officers made unintentional mistakes and that Gabby was a victim of domestic violence. The report concluded that there was probable cause for an arrest, even if Gabby had been the primary aggressor, especially given Brian's escalating aggression. While it stopped short of recommending disciplinary action, it emphasized the need for better training on domestic violence laws and dynamics. This official acknowledgement validated concerns about the missed warning, demonstrating how the officers' interpretation of events deviated from best practices, missing crucial indicators. Gabby Petito's case undeniably heightened awareness about domestic violence and the nuanced signs often missed by both the public and law enforcement. Her story brought to light the complexities of identifying abuse, especially when victims may protect their abusers or appear to be the aggressor. Advocacy groups reported an increase in calls to domestic violence hotlines following the extensive media coverage. Gabby's tragic end became a poignant example of the need for improved bystander intervention, more rigorous police training, and greater public understanding of the cycle of abuse. Her story became a stark reminder for collective vigilance. In the wake of their daughter's death, Gabby's parents established the Gabby Petito Foundation. The foundation aims to assist organizations that help locate missing persons and provide resources to victims of domestic violence. Through their advocacy, Gabby's family has channeled their unimaginable grief into a powerful force for good, seeking to prevent similar tragedies. Her legacy extends beyond her life, sparking legislative efforts and inspiring countless individuals to learn more about recognizing the subtle yet critical warning signs of abusive relationships. Gabby's story, though heartbreaking, has become a beacon for change and support for vulnerable individuals. The case also led to discussions around new legislation, sometimes unofficially referred to as the Gabby Petito Law. This proposed legislation seeks to mandate stricter protocols for police in domestic violence situations and improve interagency cooperation in missing persons cases, especially those involving domestic abuse. The aim is to prevent future missed warnings by ensuring that law enforcement is better equipped to identify and respond to the complex dynamics of intimate partner violence. Such efforts underscore the lasting impact of Gabby's story, translating public empathy into tangible policy changes designed to save lives. Reflecting on the Moab bodycam footage, the warning signs now seem painfully clear. Gabby's profound emotional distress, her attempts to take responsibility for the altercation, and Brian's relatively calm, yet subtly controlling, demeanor are now viewed as classic indicators of an abusive dynamic. The footage became a stark lesson in hindsight. What appeared to be a mutual domestic dispute was, for many, a clear signal of Gabby's vulnerability and the dangerous nature of her relationship. It remains a powerful, disturbing document that challenges us to look beyond surface appearances in similar situations and to recognize the often hidden realities of abuse. Experts in domestic violence often highlight the subtle power dynamics at play in abusive relationships. In the bodycam footage, Gabby's desperate attempts to appease Brian and minimize his actions, even while deeply distraught, illustrate this complex dynamic. Brian's stoic responses, coupled with his willingness to let Gabby take the blame, reinforced a troubling imbalance. This interaction provided a textbook example of how victims can be manipulated and how abusers maintain control, even in the presence of authority. Understanding these power dynamics is crucial for intervention, moving beyond simply identifying who hit whom, to truly assessing the risk. The tragic case of Gabby Petito serves as a profound and painful lesson for society, law enforcement, and individuals alike. It underscored the critical importance of taking every reported instance of domestic violence seriously, recognizing the insidious nature of emotional and psychological abuse, and looking beyond initial appearances. The warning everyone missed from the bodycam footage became a stark reminder that visible distress, coupled with a partner's controlling behavior, can be precursors to devastating outcomes. The lessons demand that we evolve our understanding and response, ensuring that such clear signals are never overlooked again. Gabby Petito's story is a call to action for every one of us. It urges individuals to trust their instincts when they witness troubling interactions, to speak up, and to seek help for themselves or others. For law enforcement, it emphasizes the need for continuous, trauma-informed training that goes beyond basic protocols to truly understand the complex dynamics of domestic abuse. For communities, it highlights the importance of fostering environments where victims feel safe to come forward. The memory of Gabby serves as a perpetual reminder that vigilance and empathy can be the difference between a missed warning and a life saved. While the sensational aspects of Gabby's case drew immense media attention, the enduring impact lies in the quiet, profound shift it created in public consciousness regarding domestic violence. Beyond the headlines and social media fervor, countless individuals re-examined their own relationships or those of loved ones, spurred by Gabby's story to recognize patterns of abuse. It served as a stark, undeniable example of how seemingly minor incidents can escalate, and how crucial early intervention can be. Gabby's tragedy transcended a singular event, embedding itself into the collective memory as a crucial lesson for our society. The story of Gabby Petito, from her hopeful van life dreams to the tragic conclusion, is ultimately a narrative about the power of observation, the pain of missed warnings, and the urgent need for a more informed and empathetic response to domestic violence. The bodycam footage, initially a routine police interaction, is now an indelible part of the national consciousness, a stark visual testament to the signs that, in hindsight, spoke volumes. Her memory continues to urge us to listen more closely, to see more clearly, and to act more decisively when confronted with the silent cries for help that often precede tragedy. We must learn from the past to protect the future.